Hi everyone. In this video interview we're discussing self-forgiveness and how one in fact walks self-forgiveness as a private investigator into and as the private worlds of self that exist within and as one's mind, as the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, as the personalities, dimensions, realities, and worlds that we participate in, are preoccupied with, and fantasize about, that in fact control, influence, and determine who we are and how and what we live. So the process of starting walking, applying, and living self-forgiveness is in fact taking a walk, a practical step-by-step walk into and as the pre-programming of one's mind consciousness system, as the personalities and the reactions, the thoughts, the backchats, the conversations, the fantasies that define those personalities, and how we exert, live out, or express those personalities through our human physical body in our behaviors and mannerisms, and then from within that, how it actually defines our world experience, our relationships, and our position within existence as a whole. And what is meant by or referred to as pre-programming is how we have created, designed, and programmed ourselves as the mind consciousness system that has manifested us into our total self-experience as the mind and in the physical, where we have and now are living on automated self-programs that consist of and exist as how we think, how we react, how we behave, and how we are within relationships, who we are towards ourselves, others, and the world as a whole, where we're literally moving through our day, through our weeks, through our months, through our years, just simply functioning, moving according to and living by what it is that we think or react to or reason within our conversations within our mind, or where we have backchat or internal conversations and reactions and experiences about others and the world as a whole determine our actions that we're going to take, or how we're going to be or behave within such relationships and then the world as a whole, not stopping and asking the question of where does these thoughts come from? Why am I actually in fact experiencing myself this way? What consequences will this action have that I'm taking towards this person, towards the world, have in the long run? Where are these backchats coming from? Where or how did I create this possessive state that I'm in towards my family, friends, relationships? This tiredness or this exhaustion that I'm experiencing, is this really in fact real? I'm not doing any physical activity, but I'm tired or exhausted all the time. How am I creating this? Why am I experiencing this? I mean, with walking self-forgiveness, you will be able to give yourself and directly see the answer as the source or origin of what it is that in fact makes us who we are, and how what we live through the physical as ourselves, towards our relationships, and towards the world as a whole. where within walking self-forgiveness, self-honesty, you'll be able to investigate yourself in the detail of how you are in fact responsible for the nature, the creation, and the type of thoughts that's coming up within you. How you are in fact creating your own reactions, experience towards people, towards your world, towards the world as a whole, or towards yourself. And how we've in fact, through thoughts and reactions, created, designed, and programmed our behavior, our mannerisms. And one can furthermore within that open up the dimensions and dynamics of how we have positioned and placed our relationships within our world, in relation to how we have created, designed, and programmed ourselves within who we are and how and what we live. Through walking self-forgiveness, one will gain insight and direct seeing into how it is that we are in this very moment. And within that direct seeing, one thus have the power, responsibility, and opportunity to change oneself within self, change oneself within and through one's physical living, and so change one's total self-experience towards relationships, the world as a whole, and towards self. Self-forgiveness from that perspective is thus a really fascinating, interesting process of sitting there, or sitting here with self, with pen and paper, or with one's PC or laptop, and writing out and walking through the self-forgiveness, which is the process of establishing self-honesty, to be able to take responsibility within the realization that what I am experiencing within me, what I'm accepting and allowing within myself, what I am living and doing is in fact me. And to be able to stand within a point of directive principle to stop and change and transform my experience within myself, and so my living and then my world, is to take responsibility, to give me the power to be able to change it. And with that responsibility and that power, I thus stand in the position within myself, my physical body, and my world to be able to directively change me in actively writing, living, and finding out how it is that I've come to be, how I am now in this moment within myself and my living. Therefore, within walking self-forgiveness, you are essentially walking through your pre-programming of yourself, how it is that you manifested, accepted, and allowed the thoughts that come up in your mind inside yourself. So also with the back chat and the reactions and your actions, behaviors, and mannerisms. So self-forgiveness then within that is also the process of getting to know yourself, where you start opening you up to yourself within yourself. So at the same time as taking responsibility for realizing, seeing, and understanding that what you're accepting and allowing within yourself is in fact buying as self's permission, and to within that responsibility take the power to stop, stand up, and within that process you get to know how you have come to program, accept, and allow you to be how you are within yourself and your world and your reality. So self-forgiveness is that total shift of living where you stop searching, seeking answers and questions out there for what is existing within and as self personally. I mean, we tend to search and seek answers out there for who we are and how, what we live, when we are in fact our only resource, because we are the only ones existing within ourselves, that's participating, manifesting within the thoughts, the reactions, the backchat, the conversations, the experiences, the fantasies, the projections, the nostalgia, the ponderings about self, others, the world, and existence. And therefore, what we are participating in and existing as within ourselves is in fact only from and of ourselves. And therefore, in terms of looking for answers and questions to ourselves, we're right here within ourselves. And self-forgiveness and writing is the structural, practical application process of gifting self with the answers to one's own question, and that is the totality of ourselves. I mean, at the moment, we are completely unaware of how it is that we're in fact functioning or existing as a mind consciousness system. Everything has become automated. And self-forgiveness takes you through that process of getting to know how you created yourself in the first place. Like everything, your thoughts, your backchat, your internal conversations, your reactions, your behaviors, and your mannerisms. You'll be able to trace everything with walking self-forgiveness within self-honesty. And within that, getting to know yourself through investigating all your private, secretive, denied or suppressed realities within yourself, be able to so assist and support yourself, to change yourself effectively. Because just as specifically you can walk through yourself as your mind, as your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind, so equally as specific you'll be able to change you as the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. Therefore, the more specific you walk your self-forgiveness, the more specific you can be in assisting and supporting yourself to change yourself. And that to realize that the answers to the questions of self is within self. And practically what this means is through having to walk your process of and as your mind consciousness system and your pre-programming step by step by step, equal to in one with how you created yourself. You're going to have to walk back inside yourself to get to the starting points as the origins or sources or causes of how you have come to be, how you are existing at this moment, and what is in fact influencing, controlling, and determining who you are and how and what you live within yourself. And so walk self-forgiveness, walk through yourself, your thoughts, your reactions, your backchat, your internal conversations, your behaviors, your mannerisms. Always bring it back to self. And one will start seeing, realizing, understanding that self is in fact responsible for what is happening, being experienced, or manifesting within and as self. That everything that's going on inside self is parts of self that is emerging in different forms of the mind consciousness system, such as thoughts, energies, reactions, backchats, internal conversations, and or expressed through one's physical body and how one behaves, move, or act, or physically feel. And that self-forgiveness is that process of taking responsibility. When you speak, I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself, you are in and as those words taking responsibility in stating that I realize that I'm responsible for this point that I am walking within and as self-forgiveness. In realizing that responsibility and taking that responsibility, I have the opportunity to in fact change me for real, and to direct my change of me to be within the context of what is best for all, and changing my living not only for me but for all as me, as existence. So process of self-forgiveness is the initial steps of establishing self, to be able to change self, to become a living example for human beings, to be able to assist and support others to change with and as self into and as equality and oneness, so that we can, person by person, change who we are, and so our living with ourselves and each other, and through standing together within equality and oneness, we can change the world. Alright, so here's some perspectives in relation to walking self-forgiveness as being a private investigator into it has the private realities, dimensions, personalities, secret minds that is existent within and as self. It has come to determine, influence, and control our total self-experience, our relationships toward the world, the animal kingdom, nature, the world system, money, everything within our world and reality we have a relationship with. And at the moment, those relationships are being defined, determined, or controlled by our own personal frames of references or worldviews that's defined according to our thoughts, our reactions, our backchats, our internal conversations, our hopes, dreams, expectations, wants, needs, desires. And we're not realizing, seeing, understanding that instead of living functionally, practically in this world, within our relationships, within the environment, and within the global context, instead of finding practical ways of living with ourselves and together in this world, we are all locked into and separated into our own personal world bubbles within our own mind consciousness systems that we're trying to personally, within that point of self-interest, to fulfill or chase after. And within that, it defines our total living within reality according to only wanting to fulfilling our own wants, needs, and desires, instead of considering what is the actual needs and requirements of all as one as equal within this world and this existence to be able to live in a practical, functional way on this earth and in this world. So within the process of self-forgiveness, you also realize, see, and understand how your world will start expanding from just perceiving or experiencing everything from a personal, self-interested point of view or perspective. One's world will start expanding and actually incorporating and considering or regarding others, the earth, nature, the animal kingdom, the world system, because within self-forgiveness, you're walking your process out of your mind consciousness system as ego and personalities into and as the physical. And within the physical, there exists more than just self. There exists humanity, there exists the earth, there exists the animal kingdom, there exists nature, there exists existence. And one thus will, within that, naturally assert oneself and one's living to incorporate and include what is in fact best for all. So self-forgiveness is a process of walking from a starting point of self-interest to a starting point of what is best for all as self, in and as equality and oneness. Thank you.